And when people show
mental health, we call it now.
Embarrassed.
Tens of thousands of
trustworthy friends.
Sadness, shame, helplessness, anger, vulnerability, embarrassment, disappointment, and frustration. Now, most of us like to see those feelings as bad or negative. They're not bad or negative.
Mental health, we call it now. I like the term. It's positive. We all have it, a mental health. To find out what's actually taboo about it, you need to look at the term that's kind of lurking around the corner from mental health. And that is mental illness. Now, I know a lot of you will think now, well, we've been talking a lot more about mental health these last few years. Yeah, we have been talking, for example, about mindfulness. Mindfulness is everywhere. You can even buy mindfulness tea now or mindfulness bath salts. They'll cost you 19 francs 50. It's a 7 franc surcharge for mindfulness. But don't get me wrong, mindfulness is a great thing, but it's also a comfortable thing.
And when people show emotions, tell them that it's okay to have those. Talk about them. Erase the taboo that I feel exists in our society of talking about emotions, because that's more often than not the one thing that keeps us from making the next step. And the next step is differentiating and analyzing emotions. So sometimes when we talk about or express a feeling, we substitute the original one with one that we think we know better or are better at handling. But there are actually a lot of different emotions, and all of them have their functions. And all of them might also need you to handle them differently. Therefore, it's important to get down to the core. And then you also need to accept and appreciate all those emotions. Because emotions are neither good nor bad. They just gain connotation through society. Take, for example, grieving or sadness.
Tens of thousands of hours of counseling other individuals and teaching and supervising. There was one element that I remained captivated by and still am to this day. It's unpleasant feelings. Unpleasant feelings. More than anything else, what I found is what holds people back is their inability or their challenges with dealing with unpleasant feelings. Yet nobody really teaches us what to do or how to handle them. It seems so silly, so silly. I'm excited about unpleasant feelings. Who the heck gets excited about unpleasant feelings? If you can experience and move through 8 unpleasant feelings, you can pursue anything you want in life. How? One choice, 8 feelings, 90 seconds. It's a simple formula, and it's one my colleagues and clients affectionately call the Rosenberg reset. Now, most of us believe that our happiness in life comes from the big choices that we make. And it's actually not the big choices. There's a real misconception there. It's the moment-to-moment choices. Those big choices, we think, help us determine the degree of our happiness from a day-to-day basis, or our well-being from a day-to-day basis. Not true.
The trustworthy friends we thought they were. They're more like a really moody friend who can be totally supportive one minute and really unpleasant the next. I once worked with this woman who, after 20 years of marriage and an extremely ugly divorce, was finally ready for her first date. She had met this guy online, and he seemed nice, and he seemed successful, and most importantly, he seemed really into her. So she was very excited. She bought a new dress and they met at an upscale New York City bar for a drink. 10 minutes into the date, the man stands up and says, "I'm not interested," and walks out.
Embarrassed or awkward, or I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know what you mean by a feeling. And I'm thinking, really, stop. How do you feel? Because if you know the feelings that you're having, then you have a chance of taking responsibility and representing yourself in the world with dignity and with respect. So, when I was working with a teacher with this child in her classroom, she was very excited. And this little girl used to want attention. She'd go, "Please, please, please, I'm so excited, I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get it." Get very excited. And the teacher would say, "For goodness sake, Mandy, will you calm down?" And the child would be, shame. And we talked about this. So the child would still get very excited, and then she'd start to displace and take hostages and get other people to giggle. And the teacher started to say, "She's very disruptive." And then this girl started to say, "I'm so excited," bang, and she'd slam her hand on the wall or on the desk or on the wall. And when we were talking, I was thinking, this is her external way of managing her emotions. This little girl does not know how to handle excitement and possibly the other end of the scale, depression. So we need to look at that child and think, you need to be taught how to handle your excitement instead of being labeled as difficult. Because as a parent body, a child is a heat-seeking missile for what they want. I've no idea how many of you are parents, but I am a parent and I know that children are heat-seeking missiles for what they want, and they will come at the parent as the person who's going to deliver that. And the parent, generally speaking, will do one of two things. "For goodness sake, will you leave me alone?" And the child goes into shame, fear. Have I hurt my parent? What's wrong with me? Or, go on then, do exactly what you want. Entitled behaviour. So when this parent next time tries to hold a boundary, I'm going to say no. The child will say, "Somewhere around here is that button that if I press it hard enough, I get what I want." And then parents say, "They're a nightmare. I don't know my child anymore. I feel de-skilled. I'm not in control of my family."